All right, so just sitting here in the studio, and just wanted to record quickly a introduction video for my YouTube channel. But since I got everything set up, I thought, if you wanted to have a little bit of a chat with me, I've got a few minutes here and everything's already set up with the microphone and the camera and everything. So here I am. I've got a little bit of coffee left, and it's a long weekend here, so I've got the afternoon free to speak with you and to record and upload this video. Hope you've been well. From my side, there's been a lot going on, but the most exciting part is that I've just released a new album exclusively here on YouTube, and I'd really love your thoughts on it because, in my opinion, I think I've improved some of my recording techniques and also some of my vocal capabilities, although I know that is a weakness of mine. Compared to my violin, I've been playing violin since I've been 3 years old, and I've only been singing here since I've started this electric violin project about 5 years ago or so. I love talking about music. I did go to university for music, and I majored in music composition. I've written for orchestra and string quartet and all sorts of classical ensembles, as well as, writing this kind of crazy, weird stuff for myself in the studio. But, I do love to talk about recording and violin and music theory and composing. So, if you have any questions or, want to chat, do let me know in the comments, and I'd be happy to get back to you with more information. My email is also in my contact here on the main page of my channel for any business inquiries, or if you want to do any interviews with me, I'd be open to that as well. So again, check out my newest album, and I do hope you like it. One of the things that I kind of had on the top of my mind for, things that I wanted to kind of talk about recently is, because I've created this new album, it kind of brought to mind, once again, to the top of my memory, that we have more than one way to, skin a cat, as they say, right? So when you're writing a song, it's not, like solving a math equation where there's a formula. It's a very creative process. So it can start sometimes with, an emotion, a melody, a chord progression, a rhythm or a drum pattern. Sometimes you have just like a little bit of a rhyme or kind of a poem. So it can really kind of start from anywhere. And sometimes you have, partial ideas. So I might write down a few notes, or I might write down a chord progression that I kind of enjoyed, or a certain sound quality that I liked on a synth pad or something like that, and save it for later. Same thing with lyrics. I might have just like one or two kind of cool phrases, and I don't know what to do with it, so I'll just write it down in my lyric book and hang on to it until I've got some music. Like, it's kind of like building a puzzle. When all the pieces fit together, you can make something kind of cool and interesting. With that in mind, I just wanted to talk about a few of those things. So I got actually an idea today, and I've been experimenting with recording. I haven't yet listened back to it yet, but what this idea was just to have kind of a, because I'm a looping artist, it's helpful to kind of work on top of a loop. So I've created a kind of like a 808 synth bass and a drum pattern loop. And I just stretched it out across my recording timeline for about, 10 minutes, 8 minutes, something like that. And freeformed on top of it a couple layers. And from what I'm going to do there is I'm going to go back and, again, like building a puzzle, take out the pieces that are, really interesting and nice, and see if I can fit those together into a song. I've never done this before, but I'm going to see how it turns out. So stay tuned for more about that. But some of the other methods here, let me just grab my notebook. I'll be right back with that, and we'll talk about those. 1 second. All right, welcome back. As I went to go grab my notebook, I took my headset off and realized that I actually don't need it to talk to you. It was only on because I was recording other things for monitoring purposes. But I don't need to hear my own voice back to me when I'm talking to you. So I just took them off. Okay, so I'm going to just move this microphone back a hair. There we go. And we're going to take a look through the notebook together. So I have here, oh, by the way, so talking about ideas, this is for creative ideas, song ideas. This is for lyric ideas only. And I also have a black book that's for production ideas. So again, just kind of recording everything, so if you have pieces that you don't know what to do with, you can go back to them later. Here are my notes about song creation. I've got that list of all the different things that we talked about there a second ago. I have a lot of notes. I'm sorry, just one second here. Here we go. So ways we can start a song. So these are kind of methods that I've used in the past. Again, it's a very creative process. So sometimes you're creating, like if you're a writer, sometimes you're writing because you have a deadline and you need to write something. Other times you're writing something that you're passionate about. Other times you're writing something that you're interested about. Other times you might be writing something that was assigned to you. So there's different paths to creation. So similar with songwriting, sometimes you can start with the words, or like I said, like a poem or something like that. Sometimes it is like a sound design thing where you've got like a really cool, like, you know, a gritty bass sound or a you know, funky beat or tone going on, and you start from there. Another time it's emotions or concept. So, you know, for example, on my newest released album here, the concept of, you know, what if our realities were kind of like the spectrum of light, and what if sound was like that as well, where, you know, it can be split into its different spectrum or also be united as one. And so I started with that and then created the song from there. It could also be a harmony or chord progression, you know, creates goosebumps or a tingle for you that starts it from there. Like I said, it could be like a drum beat, or it could be a melody. You know, sometimes if you have something stuck in your head where you can't stop humming it, that's a good start too. Either have on your phone, just record it quickly, or jump into the studio quickly, or if you're like me and have notation skills, you can just write it down musically. So there's some ideas there. Now I do have here some cool other things. Once you have those ideas, it can become stale if you're just going to do the same thing over and over again. You can use different methods or tools to create different textures or different characters. One thing I have here is to try to cartoonify a melody. Another thing here is to try to, instead of doing like let's say it's in a minor key, let's switch it to Mixolydian or a modal key or something like that. It'll just change kind of the character without changing the chords or anything, just kind of changing how the melody plays on top. Using transitions, I call them human sounds, things like snaps, claps, pop, puffs, things like that. And as well as using just open vowels like ah, oh, to support the melody as well. I also have here a special note: don't neglect the ear candy. And this is something that is in the upper register of our hearing. The violin can hit that quite clearly, and it's also very much what we call the treble or the sparkle range. So anything where it's kind of like shimmery or glassy or fizzy or sparkly, those kind of sounds will kind of perk up your hearing and make you more engaged with the music. So don't neglect having those just sprinkled on there on the top. That's like your finishing salt once you're done the steak. Okay, hope that was helpful for us today. And until next time, this is Michael Bones, and stay cool, my babies!